there was a video that I almost did that that was like a waste. It was like a waste of time because we've seen the shit before. But this one we get kind of a twofer. This is for those of you that don't know, this is Rusty Trombone, and he has he's running sort of he's building a church online essentially, and this is his podcast studio version of his house thing that they built with the money he makes on this show. He's got 5.7 million subscribers, 97,000 views just on this one, and all he's doing is sharing. And people wonder why people think that Rusty Rockets, with Rusty Trombone here, and Jimmy Dore are right-wing. They're corrupt. Jimmy Dore destroys the Democrats on Tucker. Now, you know, that's a title you'd expect to see on Ben Shapiro's show. It used to be a title you would see on maybe on TYT minus the Tucker part. Not now. Not today, kids. But let's see how Jimmy destroys this. And I'm sure this is a fair rendition of what actually occurred. It's an honest exchange, and he's just asking questions. He's just having a conversation that people aren't willing to have. So Rusty Trombone is just going to build a clip around airing Jimmy Dore's critique of Democrats on Tucker Carlson, for a true left-wing perspective.
Our friend Jimmy Dore
Our friend Jimmy Dore. First of all, he means friend of the show, kind of, because I know Jimmy Dore doesn't have any friends, and Rusty clearly is lacking in the friend area.
On Tucker this week.
He's not your friend?
So is the Bernie Sanders voting Democrat now a member of the far right? And what does it mean when the only place on the mainstream media where Jimmy Dore can go is Fox News?
Well, no, it's not so much that he can go. It's that why would they have him? What is he going to add to anything? And what service does he provide Tucker? This is not about a free speech venue. This is like, what gift does he give Tucker for Tucker's purposes? What Tucker is trying to accomplish? How does Jimmy help him make that happen? Oh, you think, hold on. Give me 1 second. Bring this up here. And if I may, there we go. And I think we really need to do this one, right? I think we need to we need a perspective. Hi, I'm Jimmy Brexit, and I'm here to give you the first hand on Rusty Trombone's take on things. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Tucker and Jimmy Dore. Yeah, Rusty's gonna tuck Jimmy into his door.
Hello there, you 5.
Oh, he's doing a double start.
7 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining me on this voyage towards truth, where we look at complex.
Is your nose sunburned, or is it brown because of where it's been in Jimmy Dore's ass? Secondly, the rest of you look shockingly pale. I don't know if it's the lighting, and you look skinnier. So you're not eating? Are you on some sort of a cleanse? Did you get a hose up your ass? What happened?
Complex information from a variety of sources, bring them together and see what coalesces.
Yeah, all we do is just bait right-wingers who like to see left-wingers shit on each other and the illusion of left-wingers doing it. And then, of course, we like to basically pretend to be on the left while selling right-wing talking points. It's very easy.
Now, we talk about the mainstream media all the time, don't we?
Yes, we do. If you like that kind of programming, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, do the notification bell, because the one thing YouTube isn't is mainstream.
We talk about how defunct it is, how immoral it is, how the way that it's funded is...
Yeah, it's terrible, including but everyone but Tucker. Oh, Tucker. Tucker's wonderful, isn't he? Oh, he's just a dream. He's a friend, really. He's a friend in a storm.
Complex and prevents it from conveying the kind of truth and even the kind of complexity that we are all entitled to hear.
Yeah. Why? How come is it You never can tune into the mainstream media, you know, the lamestream media, am I right? Tune into them and have some punk sit there and read shit from the mint press to you as if it's gospel. Well, how come on news programs like, I mean, they do on Tucker, but the rest of them, why don't they just have some asshole sit there and read opinion pieces and wiggle them like they're fact on a piece of paper? I don't know.
And to try to understand. Today I want to talk to you about Jim.
Today I want to edit myself. I want to cut any sense of continuity out of this because I can't get a fucking thought out because I haven't eaten in days.
Jimmy Dore appearing on Tucker Carlson. Isn't it interesting that Tucker Carlson is the only person that have like Glenn Greenwald on?
No, it's not that he will have them on. It's that they help him make the left look like shit.
Only person that will attack big business. And
that's not true either.
Lots of you that are...
He is big business. He's the heir to the Swanson family frozen meal fortune, you bastard. He's a one-man Salisbury steak.
Like left-leaning or Democrat in your previous biases or just in your...
In your previous biases. Before you start watching my show, where I do my level best as a foreign influencer to try to fuck with the election system in America. You know, from my cozy seat in a multi-million-dollar house on the edge of London under a monarchy.
Persuasion will think that Tucker Carlson maybe is a, what did someone call him once, a human boat shoe. A lot of people don't care for Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, not you. You love him. Like you love old people. I mean, really.
But what interests me is that Fox News used to be a channel that we continually berated and baited when it was like Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity and all.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that. Who would think, I mean, why would you make fun of Bill O'Reilly just because he paid $32 million to cover violent sexual assault that he engaged in for years?
All those guys, we used to torment them about their stance on numerous issues. But
yeah, but now we don't care. We're like, oh, shit. There's money in pretending to be okay with that shit. Look, I only had 300,000 subscribers on my channel when I used to be mad at those guys. Now when I carry their bowls, it's amazing. It's like they're gushing followers right down my throat.
But nowadays, if you want a channel that's going to criticize big business, big tech, big corporations, mainstream media generally and broadly,
there's someone stealing your wood, Russell.
Peculiarly, you're most likely to find that on Fox News. Why don't we have...
Are you now? And I guarantee it's not selective. What, you mean Disney?
A leftist mainstream media outlet that would showcase a voice like Jimmy Dore's. Why is that?
Because he's got more in common with Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, he doesn't chart. He's gross. He's a misogynistic prick. He's got too much baggage on his fucking channel for any normal mainstream media company to have him on because he's a scumbag. Like, his conversations about Anna Kasparian alone would keep him off of most normal channels, you prick.
What has become of the left? If you don't subscribe to our channel already...
Oh, the left. Oh, so you don't consider yourself part of that? Nah, you're in the middle. But on the top of the middle. You're like hovering above the top of it.
Subscribe to it now and please turn on the notification bell to ensure that you see our new content. We upload a new video every single day and they're all, without question, fantastic.
No, I've watched a bunch of them, and a lot of them are arse, quite frankly.
Now let's get into this one.
Yeah, let's get into this one. And by get into it, let's play a clip of Tucker.
For sure is that Vladimir Putin did it. Shut up, traitor, he did.
Even in his intro, Tucker Carlson is one of the few dissenting voices around the narratives around Putin and Russia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not fair, is it? I mean, Navalny's a dissenter. The girls in Pussy Riot, the family members of the people he's murdered with Novichok, those folks, I think, are big voices. No?
It used to be that demands for patriotism and an unflinching, blind obedience to patriotic narratives was also the domain of the right. Strange the way things change.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's fickle and has nothing to do with the country. It has entirely to do with their power control. But it's nice that you're goggling their bowls.
Jimmy Dore is the host of the Jimmy Dore Show.
Jimmy's Dore Show.
Jimmy's Dore Show.
Like a show that Jimmy does about doors.
He joins us tonight. Now, are you keeping a list of all the things Putin is doing?
Russia's very...
What was that edit? Look, I know you can chop up your shit, but what'd you cut his shit for?
Now, are you keeping a list of all the things Putin is doing?
Russia's very powerful. They control a lot of things. They overthrew our government. They committed a coup on America. They control the gas prices, and Russia's responsible for our inflation.
Matt Stoller.
By the way, for the record, Jimmy is saying basically the same thing that all other Fox guests say about Vladimir Putin, supporting him, protecting him, and saying that all the stuff about Trump is nonsense. He pushes back against what he calls Russiagate.
Said that there's only $39 billion of trade between Russia and the United States of America, so economic sanctions are ultimately meaningless.
No. If they were just us, you fucking moron. But they're not. It's all of the European Union. It's us as well. It's also our allied territories. What are you talking about? Also, the average Russian makes less than $9,000 a year.
Now, whether or not that's an oversimplification...
It is. It is. Let's just say that. Can we agree to agree that it is?
You can decide for yourself whether or not you think the mainstream media and American government amplify the impact of the war between Russia and Ukraine.
No. I mean, I would say that in general, they're not giving it as much attention as it deserves, considering the seriousness of it. And I think Fox News has been denigrating it from the very start. So if you're on balance, it's probably dragging in the direction of not dealing with it regularly. But then, of course, it's difficult to talk about rape squads from Chechnya on the evening news, isn't it? Because that means you'd have to use clips of Jimmy and Tucker laughing about rape squads. And they only do that in the green room.
Price hikes, economic inequality, intransigence in government. Do you think this is...
Relate those two, those three items. Put them together. What are you talking about? Do you think those three things that I said have any meaning whatsoever? I know they're catchphrases. I've heard them used a lot. I throw them about. It makes people think that I know kind of what I'm talking about. It's like one of those people, a lot of 50-cent words, yeah? Makes me, the illusion of intelligence. That's what we're about here. That's what we're about. The illusion of balance, the illusion of quality entertainment, the illusion of a window.
Is all as a result of the war between Russia and Ukraine? Or do you think there's ineptitude, inefficiency, and corruption elsewhere in American political culture?
Last time
gibberish.
I checked, Russia couldn't get their good vodka into Trader Joe's. So I don't think they're really controlling everything like they say they are, okay?
Yeah, there's actually they can't get any of their vodka anywhere in the United States because there's actually a sanction. That's why they can't. And also, why would you sell like top line vodka in Trader Joe's anyways? It's like saying they don't have it at Costco.
It's what the Democrats right now are in power. They have complete control of government and
right, total control of government. They've got 48 Democrats in the Senate, 2 independents. There are 50 Republicans. Because of that split, it only takes one of them to stop everything but a budgetary item from coming for a vote. Gun reform, any of that, most things, like they have to literally meet that 60 vote threshold, which they managed to do for the rescue package and for the infrastructure bill.
Like all politicians, they don't want to take the blame for anything.
Yeah, that's right. They don't tell them, Jimmy. Tell them we printed too much money helping the American people during COVID. I mean, then just look around the camera. You're on Fox News. The Post-it notes from the last few guests, they must be still there.
This story from the Financial Times this weekend is a demonstration of how the Democrat Party is ultimately bereft of ideas and
the Financial Times says they're okay.
relies instead on trying to incite suspicion, doubt.
Yeah, I hate people that do that. Hate people that incite suspicion and doubt. make you think behind the scenes there's like a group that controls everything, like an establishment that just makes everything, you know what I mean? Like that, I hate when people do that. It's disgusting. Anybody who does that, total fucking asshole.
On hatred, and in the absence of being able to use Trump as a
Yeah, so they just operate on hatred. Thank God we've got Jimmy Dore here.
kind of scapegoat or lightning rod for negativity and doubt. And remember, I'm not a fan of Trump. I know.
Yeah, you are. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter. You're in England. You live under a monarchical crown, fool.
A lot of you guys like him.
A lot of you guys like him. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to a new segment we like to call Audience Capture. That's right. When you got some prick who wants to get his numbers up, at some point, he's going to have to start looking at his insights, looking at what the people leave in the comments below and go, hey, we get a lot of comments that like this kind of thing. Regardless of my own beliefs, regardless of my own ethics, I need to start carrying this bucket of water because it's the best product we can bring to market. That's right. Good old-fashioned rotten capitalism. Yes, the very thing we argue against, where we just we respond to the customer's desires, and even if it is detrimental to the world at large, we still continue to sell it. That's what we do, sell, and more of it.
Content to use Putin in the exact same role. Former Secretary of State and Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton said in an interview with the Financial Times published Friday that the US is on the precipice of losing our democracy.
Yes. No, you didn't pause there and tell us why democracy isn't important and it's bad and it's a mistake anyways, and is it really good anyways?
Standing on the precipice of losing our democracy, and everything that everybody else cares about then goes out the window. It seems to me...
Yeah, this whole thing, living in a monarchy with a queen, that I don't understand why people think that honoring the vote of every individual should matter. I mean, isn't it all just a big scam?
That there are ideas, words, and even physical buildings that are held up as sacrosanct, as
Sacrosanct. That's, if you don't know what that is, that's people who worship powdered coffee. No, that's sacrosanct. My bad. Sacrosanct. You mean sacrosanct? You do realize you spoke English before the rest of us.
Representatives of a set of ideals that I no longer see in practice in American life.
Yeah, you don't live in American life, mate. You're not fucking American. You don't live here. You don't even fucking spend any time here. You do your show from your little studio that's made to look like your house and your fucking house. The fuck do you know about America? When's the last time you set foot over here, you bastard?
Like, what is this democracy?
Yeah, I mean, who needs it? Democracy. Shut up.
That Hillary Clinton is talking about.
Yeah, well, I live in a monarchy. It's so much easier. You know, if tomorrow, literally, if William just decided, fuck the parliament, he could just go lop someone's head off and take the fucking place over. And the legal system is still set up for him to be able to do that. No one expects him to, but he could. And I feel much more comfortable knowing that fact, so that the plebes around me don't think that they can get their hands on my goodies.
Where is this fairness? Where is this justice? I know.
Well, we're trying to maintain it while Trump tried to overthrow our fucking government. But you think he's just been made into a scapegoat.
The world could get a lot worse. I know I'd rather live in America than China.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, if you got to flip a coin.
I'd rather live in America than feudal Britain. But
feudal Britain. I like it the way it is now, though. I definitely prefer. I definitely prefer it now. You know.
That doesn't mean that we should stop aspiring to create more democratic, fairer societies.
Yeah. Why don't you start with your own, get rid of the monarchy, and then you can fucking talk to us. All right? How about this? When anywhere outside of London, you don't have a fucking racially homogenous country, and you've got a genuinely collective society of like-minded people trying to move in the right direction from all different countries, immigrating from all over the fucking world. When you get there, then you come over and knock on our fucking door, eh? Eh?
In Clinton's view, Putin's only realistic path to victory in Ukraine would be Trump's re-election in 2024. If Trump had won in 2020, he would have pulled out of NATO. I have no doubt about that, she says. There's a few assumptions here.
Yeah, there's a few assumptions here. by a woman who was Secretary of State, married to the President of the United States for 8 years, and ran for president and beat Donald Trump in the popular vote in, a democracy where she was overridden by the Electoral College, where land gets more value than a human vote.
One, why would Putin win the war in Ukraine if Trump was president?
Because the vast majority of the fighting gear that they're getting is coming from the United States. 60% of what they're getting as far as aid, 60% of what they're getting as far as aid for their refugees is coming from the fucking United States, you bastard. That's why. And if you remove that out, Putin would have taken Kiev like his original plan.
Well, how can you underwrite that statement by saying that there's collusion between Russia and Trump? Well,
because we live here, you asshole.
I think it's been proven that that simply wasn't the case.
No, it hasn't. It has not been proven that that simply wasn't the case. There is no way this asshole read the Mueller report.
And I don't have any real reason to believe that NATO is unequivocally a positive force, far less that Trump would automatically leave NATO, although he frequently spoke relatively negatively about it.
Relatively negatively about it. But, oh shit, I almost forgot. We got so carried away talking about Russell's complete lack of knowledge about geopolitical events and awareness about the strengths and weaknesses of democracy while he lives underneath the fucking queen like an alien. I forgot that we were still dealing with this asshole on this asshole show.
They want you to blame everybody and everything or anybody and anything for the pain that you're feeling right now, except blame them, the people with the power right now. And so that's why everything comes back to Putin, because Putin is a proxy for their Trump hate.
Yeah, it's basically the same fucking thing. I mean, yeah, Trump did attack the Capitol and Putin did attack Ukraine. But that's just a distraction.
Damn Putin made me fall off my bicycle.
Again, really? That's where we're going? When's hold on. I've got to look something up if I don't mind. Good. Let's see. There you go. Let's just look back. Here's the mirror. Russell Brand's 7 most controversial moments. Osama bin Laden costume after 9/11 to public nudity. There he is. I can see that you're naked. I can see that you're cold. That dude is taller than me. That's not reassuring. Seriously. You might want to squeeze your legs together, son. So he wore a, there you go, clash with Geldof. He had a clash. When Russell hosted the NME Awards in 2006, say there was already a bit of animosity between Geldof and Peter. The Irishman simply opened his speech with Russell Brand, what a twat, I suppose. Comedian far back, it's no wonder Bob Geldof knows so much about famine. He's been dining out like I don't like Mondays for years. Good. That's weird. Russell Brand and Jonathan Saxgate. The pair were comedian Russell Brand and Jonathan Ross were banned from their radio show after making a shocking call on air in 2008. The pair were the subject of more than 40,000 complaints to the BBC after making prank calls to the mobile phone of Fawlty Towers actor Andrew Sachs, with Ross telling the star Brand had sex with his granddaughter, Georgina Bailey. The pre-recorded radio show was aired, and the BBC later sacked Brand and suspended Ross for 3 months, admitting the remarks were grossly offensive and a serious breach of editorial standards. In 2013, Russell could not resist ripping into GQ Men of the Year awards by Bacchus Hugo Boss for knitting out the Nazis. He placed a finger under his nose in a Basil Fawlty impersonation of Adolf Hitler. Yeah, he stole that. On stage, if anyone knows a bit of history about fashion, I know it was Hugo Boss who made uniforms for the Nazis, but they look fucking amazing. Russell Brand loses temper at reporter after being asked value of his home. Oh, that's unfortunate. Loading ad. Let's see what this business is right here. Rent not up for discussion. There's an ad or whatever.
Personally, what does it mean to you to be involved?
What it meant for me is like a lot of it sort of really reminds me of my
own childhood, the sense of lack of power that you can have if you feel that there's no one out there representing you, no one out there looking after you. And like, I was so inspired when I first met these women, and it made me think that, it made me realise, I learned a lot about politics from these women, that you can, if you take things into your own hands, if you directly interact on issues that are important to you, then you can make a difference.
I mean, part of the problem is the super rich buying property in London, isn't it? How much did you pay for your place?
It's rented, but like,
was it?
Yeah, but like, no.
What kind of rent are you paying?
Oh, I'm not interested in talking to you about my rent, mate. I'm here to support a very, very important campaign, and you, as a member of the media, have an important duty to help to represent these people.
But we
not
are.
To reframe them,
but it's still a point, isn't it? I mean,
the point is
the demand that the super rich are putting on the London property
unless,
market.
I don't know, unless what you're proposing, unless you're proposing, and no, absolutely not. I would completely deny that. I'd say I'm part of the solution. People coming together to amplify the voices of ordinary people. That's precisely what's needed. There's no greater, more expensive piece of real estate in London than that one, and the people in there are the people that have the obligation.
Yeah, it's their fault that I have to pay the fantastic rents that I pay in London to live close to everything. Yeah.
I'd say your house is nearly on par.
Well, it's rented. We don't know the value. You'd have to talk to my landlord. Blessedly, I can afford my rent, and I'm prepared to stand up for people that can't. It's been lovely talking to you.
People, David Cameron isn't. Lisa Russell Brand's actually saying.
Look at me fucking yanking this woman over in front of him. That's funny. Here, show. Look, woman, She is just. Oh yeah. I'm not interested in talking about my rent. Farage gets branded Pound Shop Enoch Powell. Went to war with Russell Brand, being dubbed a Pound Shop Enoch Powell by the comedian's BBC Question Time. UKIP leader claimed he saw Brand having his chest hair straightened before they appeared on the BBC show together. Brand shot back, Farage was a sad man who drinks too much. Well, there's the old Russell Brand wit, or at least half of it. That's wonderful. Wasn't me. All right, that's the whole thing.
What they don't want us to realize is that we have a unipolar government, right?
That's right. It's basically the Democrats and Republicans. It's unipolar. It's the same people.
So if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Goldman Sachs. If you Mitch McConnell, the same thing. You're voting for our oligarchy.
True. What do you mean true? The Goldman Sachs guys, literally, Biden made a Goldman Sachs guy, Trump made a Goldman Sachs guy his Treasury Secretary.
They don't want you to know that. And as soon as people wake up that we've been being screwed by the same billionaires that...
By the way, this asshole wants everybody to vote, not stop voting. Tucker wants them to vote Republican or not at all. That's why Jimmy is there.
Control Joe Biden, that control the Republican Party. That's what scares them. They don't want...
Yeah, so scared. We're so scared that you're going to be, they're fucking onto us. And look at Tucker smiling. It's almost like he knows your entire job is to depress the left's vote.
They don't want me on your show talking to your audience, telling them that people on the left, we smell a rat. And we know that Joe Biden is completely controlled by the oligarchy and the corporations.
They actually think Tucker sells the thing that he's actually controlled by AOC and people, but he just in all fairness, Jimmy thinks AOC is the oligarchy. So, it's almost like it's like I can smell almonds when he talks.
The kind of pledges that politicians make on their way into power.
It's almost like the kind of preamble someone puts on a video about being fair and open-minded and talking about stuff about how, we want to look into complex issues. And then when really what you're just doing is selling a right-wing talking point full on in the actual video. It's weird.
Their way into administration suggests that they have incredible influence. We're going to give you a fairer, better America. We're going to solve these problems. But once in power, what they look for are convenient scapegoats to blame for their own inaction.
Well, no. Literally, we're out of Afghanistan and the infrastructure bill passed. Like, those two things alone, those are legit mechanical achievements you can't fucking argue with. We're done. We're not in Afghanistan. We're not going back to Afghanistan. We're not. We're not even in Ukraine. We're helping them. And in this case, these are things that were supposedly promised for years and never met. And yet, here they are.
Because they know, of course, it's necessary to deploy any rhetoric at all to get into a position of power. But once there, nothing is going to change because precisely as Jimmy Dore excellently explains there, they are at the service of the same oligarchical class.
Why? No, they're not. They can get voted out. The oligarchical class can only hold on to them for so fucking long.
The Republican Party. Ultimately, if you want to change the quality of life for
Yeah, what you really want to do is vote for Jill Stein.
ordinary Americans or ordinary British people or ordinary people all over the world, we have to attack institutional corruption.
Yeah, attack institutional corruption.
And the relationships that exist between unelected globalist bodies.
Unelected globalist bodies. Okay, so why are you attacking elected individuals?
Big tech.
Big tech. Oh, you mean like YouTube and Rumble, which you're both on.
Big business. Mainstream
Big business, I see. What define big? What you mean Costco?
media and whatever stooge state government happens to be operating in your country at
Yeah, any government, and stooge state government, whatever. I mean, you don't have a queen.
this time.
Right now, the American people are paying the price. What are we paying the price for? Not for Putin's inflation, not for Putin's gas hike. This is Joe Biden's invasion. This is NATO's invasion. This is Joe Biden's policies. These
policies. He's got like a. Is this a little what a thing in the back of your throat? What the fuck that thing's called? Is it like made of cork or something?
These are Joe Biden's policies that are wrecking the dollar, that are...
Oh dear. Wrecking the dollar. That's an interesting take, Jimmy. Wrecking the dollar. Hold on. Let's see if that's the case. US dollar. How's the US dollar doing? With markets interest rate, wrecking the dollar, you say. Sounds terrible. My goodness. The dollar must be, no one wants to go near it. It's almost like, this is the perfect example of how Jimmy Dore doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. At all. Wrecking the dollar, he says.
are propping up the ruble to the...
Propping up the ruble. Yes, so Biden is propping up the ruble. Okay, hold on. Ruble. Let's see the story on there. The ruble is currently worth 0.019 cents against the dollar. Propping it up. It's propped up. It's all of it propped up. When the ruble keeps rising, hitting a 7-year high, which is making exports very difficult. It's almost as if it's fucking with their oil trade. Huh.
It's stronger than it's ever been.
Yes, stronger than it's ever been at 0.01%, as a slight, almost 2 pennies.
You'll be astonished to learn that the sanctions against Russia mean that Russia is experiencing a kind of economic boom at the moment, and the
No, that's definitely not true. The ruble has been artificially shored up. Let's be abundantly clear. But let's see. Ruble keeps right. It's at a 7-year high right here. But that's largely because of criminal money shuffling around the globe, because it has become effectively the new Bitcoin for some people. But we would like to say, let me show you, if I may, the actual economy and reflection of that. There we go. Let's this is the bit right here. Russia begins to pay the price for sanctions. Despite repeated official denials, the democratic world's joint efforts are doing increasing damage to the Russian economy. Russia is now the world leader in the number of sanctions imposed, more than 5,500 measures, overtaking even Iran, while the Kremlin insists that that the only party affected by these measures is the West itself, which is also what Jimmy Dore says, by the way. Just pointing that out. Economic experts and even its propagandists now struggle to deny the effects on key sectors of the economy following the unprovoked war of aggression against Ukraine. During a summit on economic issues on June 17th, Vladimir Putin said that the blitzkrieg of measures aimed at his country had failed, that the Kremlin bore no responsibility for the global economic downturn, and that everything was under control. On the same day, the head of Sberbank said that it may take Russia a decade to return to its pre-invasion performance. Half the country's imports and exports were sanctions affected. Inflation is at 17% and rising. While in the 2022 national output will slump national output will slump by anything from 8 to 30%. Some Western experts do indeed acknowledge that the costs caused by sanctions will affect both the US and the EU and will eventually affect the rest of the world. Russia propaganda has cheerily cited such articles, but for a long time ignored any consequences of the restrictions at home. And by the way, that's the ruble artificially stacked up doesn't really, if you can only use it inside the country, they just make less of it. All right.
The real victims
They just erased a bunch of people and everything they own.
of economic sanctions against Russia are Americans.
No.
We'll do a story on that later this week.
Yeah, please do. I'll be sure to miss it.
And they're blaming a foreign country. Imagine if Trump did that. They'd be making jokes about it every night on the nightly news.
Are you talking about Trump literally blamed all of our economic woes on everyone ripping us off?
Of course they're not. I mean, the nightly talk shows. But of course they're not. They're all coddling. You saw Jimmy Kimmel have to coddle that old man, the guy who probably got stuck in a couch before he left that place. This is who's...
That's, never. Don't be afraid to do an old man joke on there. Look at Tucker smiling. Look at him. That's a good thing about having Jimmy on Tucker. He always delivers.
You know Joe Biden's not making the decisions.
It's nice to see Tucker Carlson just thinly smiling his way.
Yes, because that's why he has Jimmy on, to attack Democrats and Biden. This is not about balance. Jimmy is only on because he does the exact same thing that everyone else does when they come on Tucker. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Through Jimmy Dore's epic rant there.
Epic. Ah, so good. Yeah, 2 ageism jokes and then a get off Putin's back segment. I mean, who has the guts to talk like this?
Also makes me think that I've got to go on Fox News. I mean, it's the only place where you're going to hear...
I'm sorry, makes you think what?
Epic rant there. Also makes me think that I've got to go on Fox News. I mean,
Oh, that's all right. He's basically saying, if they'll take Jimmy, I'm pretty sure I could get on there.
The only place where you're going to hear that kind of rhetoric.
No, you're always going to hear that kind of rhetoric. Always.
Why can't Jimmy Dore go on MSNBC and...
Because of his weird shitty talking about Anna and her fucking work skirt and shit like that.
Talk like that, or CNN and talk like that.
Because they've got bigger fish to fry. They don't need to, troll the anus of the internet for guests to shit on the people they want shit on.
For precisely the reasons he's outlined.
No. He's exactly like all of Tucker's other guests. The reason he's on there is not because he's a fresh fucking balanced perspective. It's because he's exactly the same thing.
It'll be fantastic to see...
It's like the guests on Tucker are like a Whitman sampler that has the same piece over and over again.
Voices from the left, which you can see, ultimately share a great many...
By the way, there'd be those milk chocolate with the fruit jelly in them. One bite, fuck that.
Interest with Tucker Carlson's audience, because whether or not you traditionally vote for the Republican Party or the
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference, really? I mean, they're the same.
Democrat Party, ultimately, I'm sure you're interested in your own individual freedom, collective...
Yeah, I mean, it's really about you, innit?
Freedom for your community, a degree of...
Your community, you know what I mean? Like your gate, like the villages.
Fairness, some control over your economic life, a right to pursue your own happiness, stuff that's actually enshrined in the Constitution.
Yeah, you mean that document you don't live under?
You
mean that document that your country tried to stop us from living under?
In it, we begin to recognise that we have more in common with one another than that which separates us.
What the fuck are you talking about? Jimmy is on there because he's saying the exact same thing that all Tucker Carlson guests say. This is not some weird bridge. That's how Jimmy talks now. Tucker has Jimmy on because he'll shit on Bernie Sanders. Do you think that makes him any different than any other guest? If Tucker asks anyone else on his show about Bernie Sanders, you think they'll say anything different than what Jimmy says? Or AOC, for that fucking matter. The only difference is that Jimmy is willing to be sexist and anti-Semitic when he talks about it.
Then we'll...
Because he knows he can get away with it, or he thinks so.
Be much less easy to control. And I think this is central to American political life.
What the fuck you would know? You don't know anything about American political life, mate. You watch YouTube videos. You don't fucking live here. Fuck off.
the function of American media, and I think Jimmy Dore has outlined it beautifully.
I've spent more time in China than Russell spent in the United States. Just for the record.
There.
We all know that he's mentally impaired, and we all know that Kamala Harris isn't making those decisions because she also can't speak in clear sentences.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's brave of Tucker to have a guest on who would speak truth to power in this way.
So who is really running the country? Well, whoever runs the Democratic Party, which is a handful of billionaires.
Right, that's who it is. Look, Tucker's like, I don't know. I think I'd like it if there was a handful of billionaires were actually running the Democratic Party.
Those are the ones. They don't want to take responsibility for that. They want you to blame your neighbor. They won't want you to be angry at the oligarchs or Fauci or Big
Oh, Fauci, thanks. That's another brave moment. Thank God. He has the guts to go on Tucker and attack Fauci. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't cut his mic right there.
Pharma or the media that controls you, that makes...
The media that controls you. Hold that thought, Jimmy. We got to go to break.
You think that essential medicines are poison. They want you to blame...
They want you to think that... what?
The media that controls you, that makes you think that essential medicines are poison.
That makes you think that essential medicines are poison. Do you mean like aromatherapy for HIV or some shit?
They want you to blame your neighbor. It's...
Why would I blame my neighbor? What are you talking about?
Everybody is a Trumper or they're not. It's you're with us or against us. And
what?
That's the only message they have left, and then they have censorship left because they have failed, Tucker.
These are the kind of alliances we have to focus on.
Yeah, if these guys can get along, I mean, they don't hang out, and Tucker would never go to dinner with Jimmy Dore in a million fucking years and stuff. He only has him on as a fucking prop. He's basically a talking monkey that repeats Fox News talking points, but with the illusion of coming from the left. But this is a bridge worth building.
On people from apparently opposite ends of a very narrow spectrum.
A very narrow spectrum. Two people from... Oh, you mean horseshoe theory?
Coming together to talk about the points that we can all agree on.
Well, yes, the points we can all agree on. Biden's old. It was funny that he fell off his bicycle. He's probably being puppeted by billionaires. Fauci's a monster. Essential oils cure cancer. You know, the stuff we all... common sense. And
doubtless there would be cultural and indeed political points of disagreement.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen one.
That is why the principle of...
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference. Like, what's the differences we're talking about here? Hanging versus firing squad?
Decentralization becomes vital. If you run your town...
Decentralization. Fucko, we are decentralized.
Town and community in a particular way, and other people run their town and community in a particular way.
We all have to do it under the Constitution, though. Otherwise, it's just fiefdoms fighting against each other. I mean, why do we need borders?
Why does it matter? As long
as the people who are stronger than you in the next neighborhood over just decide, fuck it, it's the apocalypse. Let's just kill them and take their shit.
We leave one another alone.
Yeah, just leave me alone in my rich country house outside of London. Where I can make my propaganda videos and kiss Jimmy's ass. A man who I will probably never sit in the same room with.
As long as there aren't centralized media forces, government and corporate forces continually generating tension, disempowering ordinary people to centralize and advance their own economic and cultural interests.
Which are what?
Then what does it matter?
Well, I mean, what does it matter? I mean, what's the difference between you and Jimmy and people like you acting as a secondary class of people that believe the same thing, and you are uniformly, by playing his clips on your show, attempting to do an end run around, modern media. In many ways, a lot of YouTubers get more videos than some of the big networks do. So why is this not just you trying to tyrannically assert your point of view?
If people have minor...
I mean, you put out video every fucking day, and none of it has to meet journalistic standards.
Or indeed major disagreements about the way that their community should be run.
Why do you think it is that Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are the leaders in the House and Nancy in the Senate, and Nancy is the leader in the... Because they're not leaders. Those people have negative charisma. I wouldn't ask Chuck Schumer directions to the freeway. Why?
Yeah, I don't know what this is. And again, look at Tucker smiling. I wouldn't ask Chuck Schumer directions to the freeway.
Why are they the leaders?
Because they've been there a while and they know how this system runs, and you've got to have some level of comity and function in a modern government.
Because they're the ones who take the most money from the billionaire class that actually runs this country.
Well, not technically.
They take the money from them and they disperse it to the other members of Congress. So
the RNC and the DNC and the Democratic Congressional Committee and those guys, they do that as far as fundraising goes. But even that, like, is a limit.
They vote for them as leader, not because they're leaders, but because they're the most corrupt.
Right. Notice this, there was none of this screaming when Trump was in office or when the Republicans ran anything. There was no, they're the most corrupt business, no?
Man, is that true?
Man, is that true. And thank you, Jimmy, for coming on and doing exactly what I needed you to do, which was convince Democrats not to vote and Republicans to think that even the left is losing even these folks and they're all going to vote for Trump next time.
Great, Jimmy Dore. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Jimmy Dore has appeared as a guest on our channel. For those of you who
Oh, yes, we know.
don't know,
Oh, we know.
he's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat.
No, he's not. He's not a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat at fucking all. He's been on your show. You just watched that clip. You think he's a dyed-in-the-wool? What the fuck?
Father was a cop. He's from an ordinary working family. He voted for Bernie Sanders.
He's got $1.4 million house, and he treats his staff like shit.
He may have been smeared as an anti-vaxxer, even though he's had the vaccine and is in fact just criticising the profiteering that went on in the pandemic. That's not conspiracy theory. You can look at the numbers. And I think it's interesting that the only place where a leftist pundit can go on TV...
He's not a leftist pundit,
and
mate.
criticise the Democrat Party.
He wasn't criticising the Democrat Party. He was just shitting on them.
And inventory the nature of the corruption that we're currently...
Inventory the nature of the corruption. Oh, yes. Big evil Illuminati controls things. They're beholden to them. You know, the kind of shit you come up with if you write on toilet paper with crayons in an insane asylum.
Currently experiencing is Fox News. I know Fox News is not without its problems. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch. Many of you will not be fans of Tucker Carlson. But the fact is, Jimmy Dore was just able to go on there and say that the Democrat Party
was able to go on there and say exactly what all Tucker Carlson guests say.
Run by the same oligarchs.
Right. Why do you think Tucker had him on?
That run the Republican Party.
Which isn't true.
This is the fundamental point. The political choices that you're offered in America, that we're offered here in the UK...
are totally unrelated.
Aren't choices at all.
Well, yeah, basically don't vote. This is where we go. This is what he's doing. This is mute the vote. This is where Russell and Jimmy totally overlap. The idea is don't vote. That's what they want you to do. Fuck democracy. It was always a joke. You're better off under a monarchy, and it's better off if you just let Trump win next time and he can just turn it into a dictatorship. Then you can just be safe and secure in an authoritarian government.
Whenever a
You can just say, leave me alone, as they storm into your house and take your shit.
Political figure emerges that starts to offer genuine alternatives, i.e. ways for ordinary people to have a democratic impact on the governing of their nation, on the governing of their own lives, they are smeared,
No, they are not.
criticised, condemned.
Everyone's criticized in a democracy.
Ignored. There are
No.
fewer and fewer ways for those voices to succeed within the mainstream media. That in itself is a demonstration of alliance between the state, corporations.
No, it isn't. There are people with these complaints about the Democratic Party. They just articulate them in less grotesque ways on mainstream media.
Big business and the media. I'm grateful to be able to see conversations between Tucker Carlson and Jimmy Dore.
Of course, because it gives you hope that you could be on Tucker as well.
Who continues to be critical of the Democratic Party.
And supportive of a Republican Party and the death of all Ukrainians.
That has become little more than a mouthpiece for the same economic interests that...
How so? How so? Explain yourself. What do you mean? What, how they same? So unions and big business, same thing altogether. So, but like the union advancements we've made since Biden got in office, because he's been saying repeatedly he's got their backs and he's making sure that they have every ability to unionize. All those things are just bullshit. They would have happened under Trump.
that have traditionally governed the Republican Party. Now, I know some of you are conservative and traditional and probably
Almost all of your audience is, Russell.
really like Tucker Carlson anyway, and I probably feel a more natural alliance with Jimmy Dore.
What's the difference? A natural alliance? What? Because you spend most of your time shitting on Democrats and protecting Republicans?
But whatever your particular political persuasion is,
like and subscribe and pull the thing and just, help me build this thing.
I think it's absolutely vital that we start to formulate new ideas around how we can run our own lives, run our own community, and
in the woods, in a nice $1 million house, away from the plebes.
most importantly of all, get money and corruption out of politics so these
Get it back into entertainment where it belongs.
fading and failing institutions become...
Oh, these fading and failing institutions, like FEMA and the National Institute of Health and the CDC and the FAA and the Transportation Board and the FDA. I mean, wouldn't life be easier if we just get the FDA out of the way and just, if you occasionally have some poisoned baby food, the market will fix it.
Become once again responsible to the people that pay for them and the people that elect their inhabitants.
They are. We have elections every 2 fucking years, you bastards.
But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the...
I think you want to get rid of the APA, you prick. That's what I think. I think you watched Ghostbusters, saw Walter Peck, and got your opinion of the Environmental Protection Agency from that fucker. And you're like, if you just left it alone, the environment just heal itself magically. The oligarchs would see the error of their ways, and they'd all discover a way that they'd let loose all the machines that run on sunshine and water.
the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either one of these ones. Remember, turn on the notification bell.
Look, and here's the two. Here's the two videos this prick wants you to see. What are the two? What are your options? Going out the door. Let's see. Over here, Jimmy Dore. The establishment are shitting their pants. This, of course, means the Democratic establishment. This is not about the Republican establishment. This is not about anyone else. This is about the Democratic establishment. That is. So you click on that, that's what you're going to see there. Over here, they're falling apart. Biden, and look at AOC. There's a big crack between them, and she's screaming, and he's mad, and the whole thing. The Democrats are fine. If you like that video where I played Jimmy Dore on Tucker and cut it down for you, you're going to love when he was on my show, and you're going to love this thing about what a bitch AOC is. You know? And there's links below to Jimmy's channel, so if you ever want to watch him, making anti-Semitic or anti-gay hits on Bernie Sanders, there's plenty of that to be had.
Because YouTube is a big tech platform and we need to make sure that our daily videos are seen by you.
Yeah, this is all, again, you're not being ghosted, a shadow ban, mate. It's all numbers. They don't give a fuck. If content was dropped because of something they didn't like in it, I mean, there wouldn't be a shit ton of Q stuff still on the air. You don't rank enough even with your numbers to get kicked off. If anything, that's what keeps you on. Jesus Christ. And by the way, that was, it kind of let us do a bank shot on that one to show you basically that overlap. I mean, that one, that is the horseshoe. That's it. Russell and Jimmy and Tucker, absolutely cut from the same cloth. These guys are all people who would have, more Russell and Tucker, quite frankly, because they trade stories about, going on, fuck dates with Matt Gaetz or something. But Jimmy Dore, they tell him to go get the car and they'll meet him in a minute. But the three of those guys all kind of are cut from the same cloth. They're all cut from, they all have the same goal, which is depress the Democratic vote. That's it. That's the whole reason Jimmy's show exists now. It is increasingly why Russell's show exists, and it's why, and I guarantee Russell could be on Tucker in a fucking heartbeat. He'll be on in weeks. Specifically because that is his purpose. You align yourself with the purpose of diminishing the Democratic vote, you'll get a slot on Tucker. That's how it works. And again, that's what's considered the left on YouTube. That's when people talk about, the online left and the online right and alt-right and alt-left and all that kind of stuff. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about Jimmy. They're talking about Russell. These are the up-and-comers. These are the ones who, between the two of them, have more of an audience than even TYT does. And this is the message. Don't vote. That's it. And that is not a message you are ever going to hear here. Go to vote.org. Make sure that you are registered. And if anybody you know isn't registered, or you think they might not be, send them that link. Anytime you're posting about something you care about and there's no link involved in that thing, add the vote.org link to the bottom of your tweet as an addition to that, so that, because that constant, it might take somebody seeing it 3 or 4 times to go, I wonder if I'm still registered. That kind of thing. It's crucial. Every voice matters. Unlike Russell and Jimmy, I'm not giving up on democracy. I actually give a fuck. And I want people, even people I disagree with, to vote. I make occasionally jokes about Trump driving down the vote and not caring. But in reality, you all know that I would rather lose because we lost the battle of ideas than attrition. So we'll definitely see more of their bullshit from, here on in. But this is also, you have to understand, this is part of the impact of January 6th. I don't know. We'll check. I might have to check and see if.
Look, it's me, Russell Brand.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Right now, let me see if they've got. Yeah, he's got one January 6th video. And then he's got, let's see. Yeah, most of his stuff we've seen, of course, is about Pfizer. Whenever he puts Pfizer in his thumbnail, he gets a huge boost. But anyways, we'll take a look and see we'll take a look at one of his Jan 6 videos coming up to see what his, the point is. Like, this is I guarantee that it's not based on the content of the actual thing. It's going to be about an article somebody wrote about what happened, or a whole, like, they want you to focus on this so you don't notice this thing, which is exactly what Jimmy was doing on Tucker. That's the purpose. Don't watch Jan 6. You don't focus on what happened on January 6th or that it might happen again. High gas prices. That's his version of the distraction. But anyways, take care of yourselves. I will see you guys tomorrow for the morning show, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And hopefully, if we can still work it out, because he's traveling, Philip Ittner will be joining us. He's going from Odessa to Lviv. And then I will have the regular afternoon show at 3 o'clock. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. See you later. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.